Hi, welcome to Glad Tidings, the first in what we hope and expect will be a long-running series telling you all about what we're doing at Glad Climate. My name's Ben Wynn. I'm one of the co-founders of Glad, and my objective today is really just to say hi, to welcome you, to explain what it is we're up to at Glad, and answer some of the questions that are no doubt on your mind anyway. So let's start with an easy one. Why do we call it Glad? Why is it called Glad Tidings? And what is Glad all about anyway? So I said easy, but let's have a go. So Glad, well, Glad we chose Glad because it's optimistic. And we wanted to be optimistic. We wanted to inject a sense of hope. Because when you start looking at climate change, which we believe is the problem of our time, it's very easy to fall into a world of despair, to bury your head in the sand and be that kind of, take that ostrich mentality. But we don't think that's going to solve the problem. We think the problem can be solved. It is a monumental challenge, but with optimism, with everybody coming together, acting as a community, we think this can be solved. And we believe the only way in which to do that is by being optimistic, being hopeful, and therefore Glad is a kind of an expression of our beliefs, if you like, about how this can be solved. Glad Tidings, not just a clever play on words, but is because Glad Tidings means good news. And the idea of this podcast is that we'll be sharing that good news with you, our community, to let you know exactly what's going on, the progress we've made. We'll be providing a roundup. We hope it will be on a weekly basis, a roundup of the progress we've made in the last week. And when I say we, I don't just mean the people working in the business, I mean we as a community. So we very much see this. The only way to solve this is if we all come together. And so the Glad community are the ones that have the real power. They are you, are the ones that we're doing this for. Those that believe climate change can be solved if only we all contributed a little bit. So, what can we expect on the podcast? How's it going to work? And who's involved? Well, so as I say, this will be a weekly short podcast, just giving you a sense of the progress we've made. We're going to do that completely transparently and candidly. And it's probably worth explaining why we think this is a useful tool. So my co-founder James and I have worked in early stage businesses, startup technology businesses for the last 20 years. And across all the different businesses we've worked in, there's a common thread of something that we think is one of the most powerful things any business, particularly an early stage business, can use. And it's just this concept of communication, because communication is everything, especially when you're trying to build a future that doesn't yet exist, or create a vision, build a product, get something to market that has never been done before. Bringing the team along with you is an absolutely vital part of this, because you can't do these things alone. And so that very simple thing that a lot of businesses do, an all hands, or I've always called it highlights, because I quite like the idea of sharing highlights and lowlights at the end of the week. We've been doing that and bringing teams along with us on that journey. And we know how powerful that can be, how appreciated it is from the team, and how it actually really helps those doing the communicating as well, because it helps distill the message and it allows you to reflect on, well, how much progress have we actually made since we stood here and did this last time? So we're taking that concept, and indeed, we've been working on Glad for some time, and we've been doing Glad Tidings internally. We've been writing up our progress for the week and sharing it with the team. But then we realized that that's the wrong audience. The audience that matters are you guys, our community. You're why we're doing this. We're doing it with you. It's your contributions that make the difference. And so we felt it's only fair and proper to share the Glad Tidings with you. So that's what we're going to be doing. The exact format, exactly how it rolls out, is all to be worked through. But you can expect a weekly update, a short update in this kind of format. And then, tell us what you want. Tell us how you want it to shape, how it wants to improve. The other thing I wanted to do today is just give you a sense of our opinions about climate change. And I just think it's useful explaining this. We've explained this many times to businesses that we're working with, but we thought it'd be useful to just explain it with you guys. We see climate change as the problem of our time. It's the biggest problem that humanity's ever faced. But it's tying itself up in knots. And when you look at the climate community, the scientists, the policymakers, the environmentalists, the business leaders that are trying to lead the way, so often and so frustratingly, it's tying itself up in jargon, in science, and in kind of metrics that don't mean anything to the everyday person on the street. And that makes it less accessible than it needs to be. And people have described climate change as a communication problem. I agree with that. I think that is the case. And I think it's something we need to work hard to address. So our intention is to talk in without jargon, without science, and we would invite you to call us out if we do fall into that trap. But yes, so climate change is a big problem. And when you're faced with a really big problem, the only way I know to try to solve problems like that is to break it down into component parts and really understand it. And our starting point with climate change was to do that, but to do it in a way where what is the fundamental things that we need to do to tackle climate change? And we've got to the point where there's really just two things you need to do. You just need to stop putting greenhouse gases into the atmosphere and take out the greenhouse gases that we've already put there. So those greenhouse gases that you'll be familiar with, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, methane, they are acting like a blanket in our atmosphere, warming the planet. So the fundamental thing we've got to do is stop putting them up there. And that is a reduced focus. And that's where most activity is. You'll have heard of things like carbon neutral, getting to net zero, energy transition, the electrification of vehicles. All this kind of stuff is focused on reducing the emissions that we put into the atmosphere. And it's a good thing. We desperately need that to go faster. We need more individuals. We need more businesses. We need more governments to back that kind of initiative. But at the same time, we need to focus on removing the greenhouse gas that's already up in our atmosphere. And that's where we focus as GLAD. We focus there because it's the thing that individuals could contribute to, that we can make a difference on, that is going to be more and more important over time. Well, why? Well, it's the effects of climate change we see today are being caused by the pollution we've already put into the atmosphere. So we can already see that this is causing a problem. And if we were at a state where we just stopped the emissions of greenhouse gas emissions globally, all of them tomorrow, we'd still have a problem because the greenhouse gas that's up there lasts for 100 years. Well, the carbon dioxide does at least. And this is a problem because we're nowhere near net zero in terms of emissions. Indeed, emissions are growing year on year. And that means that the amount that we've got to clean up is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So we need to start that cleanup process. And we feel that the only way in which that's going to work is if millions of people around the world are bought into the fact that they would like to live on a planet that is clean, is healthy, and that has a future. And so we're all about removal, the great climate cleanup. So that's us. I think that's all I'm going to talk about for now. There's lots and lots and lots that we are keen to share with you. But the idea is to keep these short and sweet. So for now, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring about the climate. And thank you for being part of the GLAD community. See you next time.